So this year I turned 50. Now it's just a number and I really don't feel any different. But it's one of those markers that people pay attention to in life. Like, no one really cares if you're 27 or 36 or 41. But the decades, they stand out. You look back and you try to remember, where was I? Who was I? What was I doing at age 20, 30, 40 years old? Well, recently it occurred to me that I set most of my strength PRs back when I was 40. So I thought it'd be kind of a cool project to put some of the same numbers in the books for age 50. So with that in mind, this summer I'm going to track 1 rep maxes in some of the major barbell lifts. Squat, deadlift, overhead press, and bench. Now, the barbell lifts aren't the end-all and be-all of strength training, but the weights are standardized and the exercises are easily reproducible. So, like 300 pounds on a bar is still going to be 300 pounds on a bar in 10 years. So it's going to be easier to keep track of where you're at. But that said, that's not the only important metric in life. I think it would also be really useful to track your, say, 1 mile time, or even something like swimming. So since I'm tracking 1 rep maxes, I decided to join a powerlifting gym. Now, I have never had any real desire to compete in powerlifting or become a powerlifter per se, but powerlifting gyms are my safe space. No matter where you go in the world, go to a powerlifting gym and you're going to get heavy dudes, heavy weight, and heavy metal. Some kind of heavy metal is going to be there. And it is just the exact opposite of your local Globo gym. So it's not like you can't lift heavy at a corporate gym, especially if you have a good spotter, but if you're going to lift by yourself, you really want to have access to these adjustments where you can change the height of the stops and change the bar height. All right, that was 305 American Imperial. I call it American Imperial because, well, the Brits don't use it anymore. We do. They gave up their empire anyway. So this is like a Gulf of America kind of thing. We're just taking it over. I'm pretty happy with 305. I actually tried 315 today and I didn't get it, but that's a good goal for the end of the summer. Now, before I started this process, probably back in March, I hadn't benched in years. I'm much more of an incline dumbbell press kind of guy. This is my jam. This is a little lighter than I normally go, but keep in mind that I just benched before this and also I was filming, which means that I probably did 8 sets of 8 of this, trying to get all the different angles. So I got some work in. Now there's a certain kind of guy who bench press is his identity. And he has to put up a certain number week after week, year after year, and it's just not really great for you. And I find that those guys end up getting shoulder replacement surgeries eventually. I think it makes a lot more sense to get that number that you want, then move on to other things and build your bench press back up every few years. Overhead press is my favorite barbell lift, and it's the only one I maintain. Now, I don't train it year-round, but I do like to keep it around body weight, which is about 205. That was 225 American Imperial, and I like to train up to hit that at least once a year. My lifetime PR is 250, but I don't think I'll ever hit that again. So this is going to be heretical to a lot of guys, but I took 2 years off of training legs. Leg days, I skipped them.
I have short, thick legs naturally, and I was trying to get them smaller for jiu-jitsu. If you look at a lot of the top guys, they've got these sharp, bony knife legs. I always assumed that I could just walk into a gym and pull 405, and I could until this year, when I couldn't. And that was not acceptable. In fact, that was one of the reasons I started training these benchmark lifts again. That was 429 American Imperial. The plates are kilograms, but we don't have to talk about that. I just let Grok do the math. My all-time PR is 535. Now, I've trained to pull over 500 a few times, and I could do it again, but I know what it would take, and I feel like it's in the realm of diminishing returns. I think 405 is a really good baseline for any man with an average build. Some guys like squatting, and I can get into it once my head is in the game, but barbell squats hurt me like nothing else. In fact, after this video, I had to drive home and take an ibuprofen because this lift really torqued my elbows for some reason. That was 335 American Imperial. My lifetime PR is 445. Most of these PRs were set at Chris Juffin's gym back in 2015. I had a tattoo shop in the gym, and that place at that time was such a vibe. You can hear guys yelling in the background, and man, that is what you want. So, someone in the comments is going to ask if I'm on steroids. When people say steroids, it's usually a sign that they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Whatever they think they know is just some boomer level cluelessness, but I'm just going to head that off and say that I've been on TRT for about 10 years and I've been known to add in a little extra pepper. But I'm not trying to have a heart attack, and I'm pretty conservative with how much of anything exotic I take. Except peptides. I am something of a scientist myself. It's true that getting older is inevitable, but there is also an element of choice there. Guys my dad's age, and for a few generations before that, they stopped doing anything athletic after high school or college. They just slowly declined over the decades like it was their destiny to get weaker and fatter. By the time they were in their 30s, they were moping around and reminiscing about their golden years in high school. I barely even remember high school. It's the old Al Bundy syndrome. But you can push back on that. Strength is a use it or lose it virtue. You don't like where you're at, invest some time in building it back up. Then you can coast on that for a few years and then build it back up again. Men today are lucky in the sense that we have so much information and technology available to us now. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be as strong and athletic as you can be for as long as you can. My name's Jack Donovan. Stay solid.